This is Romo Dunze, and you're listening to the Ballsville podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
And now, your host of the Ballsville Game Podcast, Scott Fitzgerald.
Welcome in, Ballsville gamers, to another episode of the Ballsville podcast. I am your host, Scott Fitzgerald, a.k.a. Loots for Sale on Sleeper. And this episode is brought to you by theballsvillegame.com, where our games combine fantasy football and poker, which create big payouts with great odds.
Big payouts, great odds.
Welcome in, everybody. We have a nice show for you today. We're going to be talking about a lot of movement and free agency today. We're also going to be talking about Sean's favorite segment, the trade talks, and just give you an update on how the games are going, where we're at in Ballsville right now. So I'm going to bring in my panel. Today we're three-headed. He is my co-host. He's Bill's Mafia. He changed his screen name, and it looks like he goes by Clemcast BVN on Sleeper. Welcome in, Sean.
What's up, Scotty? I had to change it up, man. The Schlem was just not working for people. I kept getting Schlem and S-Clem and, all of this, like, tearing it apart. So, BVN is Ballsville Nation. Clemcast is myself.
Or Schleprock. Okay. Coming in from the West Coast, she crushes Justin Herbert. She is our producer and radio personality. She is Sarah M21. If you guys have not gone and looked on X yet, Sarah's got some pretty cool clips on there. Please come and check it out. She works very hard on these shorts. Has done an excellent job with our producing this year. Really check out her work. It's a lot of fun. Welcome in, Sarah.
Oh, thanks, Scott. Yeah, and on Instagram as well, and sometimes even on Facebook. So we'll be getting some more social media pages up as well.
Awesome. Okay, I'll welcome in some people in chat. Looks like we got Brandon Delfor. Welcome in, Brandon. We got Jimbo's Bimbos. Welcome in.
What's up, Brandon?
Alejandro Hernandez is in the chat.
Alejandro Hernandez.
We also have Zubakis, Short Stack. Welcome all in, fellas. And we'll see if we have any more stragglers that come in. So I'm just going to give you an update on where we're at in Ballsville right now. We got a lot of things going on. We got the mini 300s. They're up and running. We're at the Xbox, which is going to be the 303. Alloy is 8 of 12 full. What's up, Cyborg? 8 of 12 is full. After that will be 304. It'll be Ezio will be the next game that'll launch. So that's our Xbox. We're already in the 300s. For our dinos, we are expanding to 16 this year. Right now, Link, which is number 9, is in round 20. We have Siegfried and Clay, which would be the next two that are filling as of, I think each of them are half full. So we're looking at some more players there.
I think there's 5 in one and 6 in the other.
Okay. And then after that, there's only going to be 4 more. So once those launch and once those are drafted, that's going to be it. I'm not sure how in the future if we're going to be expanding next year or the year after, but if you want a Dino League with Ballsville, definitely get in there. They're a lot of fun.
We're going to be expanding for Ballsville Nation, baby. That's what we're going to be doing for the next decade.
So there you go. And definitely
check out the site.
Definitely check out the site. Definitely like and subscribe to the podcast. It really helps a lot. I'm going to keep pushing that out. Leave a comment. We had some good comments last week. I went through and looked at a few of them. So good or bad, leave them in there. It helps us with our content and what we want to give to you guys. So
hit the little thumbs up button,
Yep, exactly. So and then we're working on the triathlon. So the triathlon is going to be our inaugural game that we put together. 3 games all wrapped up into one. It's going to be tremendous. It's going to be led by 3 separate gods. It'll be the Romans, the Egyptians, and the Greeks. So
hey, why you put us in the last spot, buddy? All right, us Greeks, man, we deserve to be up front.
I could have put the Egyptians first, but I didn't. So, yeah, that'll be really interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're still working out a little bit of the kinks, buy-in, grand champion, how we're going to handle that. So, yeah, it's going to come really, really soon. So when it does, you guys can sign up and it's going to be tremendous. So, and then one more quick thing. My boy Cyborg's in here. What's up, Cyborg? He runs an awesome March Madness tournament on Sleeper. Just go to the college basketball bracket section and look him up. He's posting every day. I think we got like almost $1,100 in the pool. He runs it really good, very transparent, pays top 5. So it's definitely check that out if you want to make a bracket, because everybody likes March Madness. So go out and get in there and give that guy a shout. So we are going to get into now the all the movement that happened and then in the last couple of days. It was really, really wild. So I'll kind of go team by team. Just the important players. I'm not going to the defensive players. I know you IDP players are like, oh, come on, man. But I mean, the show will be like 5 hours, especially with Sean's analysis. So real quick with Arizona. So you got Zay Jones. He signed a 1 year, $4.4 million. Brissett's signed a 2 year. He's backing up. DeAndre Hopkins signs a 1 year, $6 million deal with the Ravens. Sean, do you like that? Do you like that signing?
Not really. I mean, I think it's expected. I guess it's kind of like the Ravens' MO the last decade. They just sign that older guy that they think, oh, he can come and fill that hole we need. He can come fill that hole we need, and then they just kind of underperform. So, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to get that number one guy without just making a huge move in the draft.
Yeah. What about you, Sarah?
I actually think I like it. It doesn't affect me in any way whatsoever, but I actually can see him doing some stuff, opening up Flowers a little more, and vice versa. And with the way that Lamar's been getting so much better with his passing, I think this could be something really good if they can, make it work.
Is he an upgrade over Bateman at this point in his career?
Yes, I still think he is. Yeah,
I just think that it's going to just be more of a hindrance. It's going to take targets away from Bateman, who's kind of, he's a late bloomer, but he's kind of, he's coming through. Flowers is still somewhat developing. You still got Mark Andrews. You got Likely. You still got the King, who's gonna tote the rock 20 times. So I mean,
to be honest, I would have rather
going to open them all up. I don't.
I would have rather than wait for Cup in that offense. He'd have done better. I feel like
I think that's the same thing. It's the same
I don't know. I think he would be a better player for what Lamar brings to the table and complementing the rest of the guys. Whereas DeAndre, I just feel like he's kind of. I don't know. DeAndre would have done better in like a toss it up 50-50 ball kind of scenario. I don't see that a lot from Lamar.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're in March now, so we probably will never remember we had this conversation, but we'll see what happens when they start playing.
This is, what is this, first 10 minutes?
2-1 here.
This would be an easy clip to find.
I'm the only one, but I do think that he could really help.
I don't think it's an expected move. I wouldn't call it a bad move. I just don't personally think it's a good move.
Right. So what's up, Joey? So Joey Jacobs in the chat. He's our DFS and one of our game managers. So welcome in, Joey. Excellent content. Like I said, we got big things planned for Ballsville. We're putting together a huge DFS section this year, a DFS game. So JoJo's going to run that along with myself. So definitely we're looking for a lot of players for that. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a blast. So let's move over to Buffalo. Obviously, we're going to leave with Sean. So we got Allen that signed a monster deal. We got Shakir, 4 years, $60 million. They also signed Ty Johnson, 2 years for $5 million, and Josh Palmer, 3 years for $36. So I'm going to stop talking. Go right ahead, Sean. Break it down.
Well, I mean, basically, you didn't even mention a couple of guys because I know we're not talking defensively. So, but the basic theme of the offseason is for Buffalo so far has been make sure you lock down the guys that you want to keep and moving forward and adjust your cap so that you have the opportunity to make some, one or two splashy moves that you need to get that one or two player. And I think they did, they tried to fill that role, with Myles Garrett wasn't available. They tried to fill that role. with some of the other DNs out there, and they couldn't quite come up with anything until Joey Bosa became available, and then they made that move for him. As far as like the actual offensive side of the ball, though, all they really did was lock down their players and grab a guy who can get a little bit of separation to fill like a hole in their receiving core's like skill set.
Got you. What about you, Sarah? Do you one thing that kind of stuck out to me? Maybe I'm looking at the numbers and maybe that's right or not. But I mean, Shakir for $60 million. I mean, you think that's a little hefty?
I think it's a little high for Shakir. I don't know if they've been planning on really like drawing things out specifically for him here in the future.
If you read the way that deal is, though, it's really a team-friendly deal, and it's absolutely not
like he only gets it in bonuses if he like does certain things and things like
that.
Okay,
it's a really, really good deal. That's what most of Buffalo's deals at this offseason have been team-friendly.
That makes sense.
A pretty big theme so far.
The one that stands out to me is Ty Johnson because I did notice how much he was helping them last year, and I've been getting him so late in these drafts, like people like aren't even picking him up some places, and I'm just like,
people forget that he started the season as the number 2 behind James Cook, and then he didn't they were kind of like the 2A 2B scenario by the end of the season. It wasn't like he was completely out of the mix. Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he definitely took a lot away from Cook. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if one of those guys gets hurt at all, then Ty Johnson's getting plenty of shares to be a worthwhile player, especially in best ball.
He's great best ball. He's a great best ball asset.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I love the Allen deal. I mean, you lock up the best quarterback in football.
You better.
Money doesn't even matter. It just you got to lock them up. And I actually like the Josh Palmer deal too. I mean, it's basically $10 million a year, but I mean, I
wasn't as happy with that because I kind of would have rather them go after a guy like Darius Slayton and get him for around the same price that they paid for Palmer. Because if you look at the deals, they're pretty similar between what he signed for to stay with the Giants and what we got Palmer for. I would have taken Darius Slayton over Palmer personally, but
really,
I'm not the first one to come up with that take, but that's definitely something that I think is the right take.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Palmer's not bad. I don't hate him. I just think Darius Slayton showed more promise to me.
All right, let's move on. Carolina, just Tommy Tremble, 2 for 10.5. Red Dalton signed to back up, Young for 2-year, $8 million. Cincinnati, you got Higgins. So basically, the way it's looking is they're trying to work out a multi-year deal. They have to do it by July 15th. He's going to get the $26.2 million tag, which is actually pretty nice. But they'll probably work something out. You got Gesicki, 3 years, $25.5 million. I think that's a pretty good sign. And then Oatmeal Pants P. Ryan is back in Cincinnati, 2 years, $3.8 million. Anything stick out to you, Sarah, in any of these?
I was just thinking about well, you're talking about Cincy now. I was thinking about Tommy Tremble with Carolina because
I mean, if you want to talk about Tremble, you can.
Just him because that name it always sticks out to me because I think a lot of us thought he was going to do a lot more in his rookie year, and we're kind of hopeful and had him on the bench or in the taxis and dynasties and things like that. And so the fact that they're re-signing him when they barely did anything with him, it makes me think maybe they're going to actually start really utilizing him and doing something with him. And as far as T. Higgins goes, I definitely think they're gonna find a deal. I don't think that either of them want him to leave.
What about you, Sean?
I mean, I'm with Sarah basically on everything she just said. Tremble was one that I had some shares of that really bothered me, but I'd be remiss if I let the fact that Samaj P. re-signed go through without Megan Scott discuss a little bit about what that man brings to the table when it comes to his role back in Cincinnati.
His role is filling his pants. That's what his role is.
I love it, man. Oh man, I couldn't help it. I had to make you talk about it at least for a second.
Anything Gesicki? You like Gesicki?
I like Gesicki. I think it's a pretty good move. I mean, Cincinnati has been everyone's been thinking some tight end in Cincinnati is going to make it, do something big, and Gesicki's the first one who does anything.
Yeah.
So
I think he'll be
I
their
didn't-
tight end
yeah,
too behind the rookie they take. It's just my
maybe.
opinion.
Possibly. All right, let's move on to Cleveland. Really, the only thing that kind of stuck out to me, obviously, we're not talking defense. Where we're talking, but Kenny Pickett was traded for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So Pickett goes to Cleveland. DTR goes to Philly. Pickett, obviously, we all know he's not going to be the quarterback. I really think Cleveland's they're going to draft a quarterback. So they're going to find a way to get a quarterback, whether they trade up, do whatever.
Did you hear about the Russell Wilson visiting Cleveland news?
Well, yeah, I mean that's assuming that one of those guys don't go there, but I still think if they bring in Russell Wilson, I still think they're going to be in the quarterback game. What do you think, Sean?
I mean, I definitely think they're in the quarterback room for that number 2 overall pick. It's, there's still a lot of time left in the offseason. We got pro days, we got everything coming up, so we'll see how it plays out and where these guys fall. It always seems like we start out the season with like a certain idea of what people have an opinion on where these guys land. And then it always comes up like a week or two prior to the draft. You start getting these guys that just come shooting out of nowhere that people are like, man, I'm hearing a lot about this guy and I'm hearing a lot about that guy. And, so you never know, you know what I mean? A guy like Jackson Dart has been a guy like so far that's been kind of being in that realm. So, I anticipate that they'll be in the mix to an extent for it. I think that if there's a trade for the number 1 overall pick, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't just sit at number 2 and wait to see if they can get a deal to move out of it. And then if they don't, I think they'll just take Abdul and then they'll pair him with Garrett and they'll have one of the most fearsome D lines in football and go that route. But, I really don't see. I personally don't think that any of these quarterbacks are going to make enough noise to get up to the fact that they're worth the number 2 spot. I think maybe Cam Ward is the only one. And if it happens, I think it'll be somebody trading up to number 1 and they'll take him there. And then he's, number 2 is going to be Carter.
All right, Sarah, I'm going to go to Dallas for you. They signed Javonte Williams. It's super cheap, 1 year, $3 million. It's like prove a contract. I mean, they got to bring in another running back. They're probably going to draft another running back. But for fantasy, if you have them, I guess you're holding them. Hope for the best.
I think it's much better than being in Denver.
Yeah.
The thing is they clearly like Dowdle still as well. So I think with Dowdle and Javonte, they can easily get a rookie into like.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
And watch
on the team still. I thought he was a free agent. I thought Dowdle was a free agent. Yeah, is he not a free agent?
I'm not sure, but I know that Cowboys have talked about wanting to keep him and.
I think he's still a free agent right now. I mean, I think they still have the rights to him. Not 100% sure, but I'm surprised they're not going to bring Dowdle back. But what does that do for Estime?
Hey, the first thing that shows up when I Google Dowdle is Panthers add Dowdle to backfield.
Oh, then it must have just
happened. Way. Oh my gosh, did that just happen today?
It says it was an hour ago.
Oh okay. Shit. Well, that's there's Chuba's 1B guy then because I don't I don't think anyone's going to put Dowdle too far
Sanders,
back.
Is he a free agent then, and Miles Sanders is now not on that squad anymore. Or
what's happening? With him.
Miles Sanders dead. He's dead. He's got the oatmeal pants syndrome. So
for sure.
Well,
you were asking about Estime, but don't forget about McLaughlin too, because they.
No, I was going to ask about what do you guys think in Denver now? You got Estime, who's
Estime and McLaughlin are a badass one too.
They might just roll. I think they might just roll with that. I mean, Estime's 21. He's like.
I don't know, man. This is a deep running back class, and he snagged Kamara in the 3rd round. I could easily see Denver taking a running back in the top 3 rounds this year and making like a Kamara type pick, a guy that like they just have. Eyes for, and Peyton picks the right guy,
Yeah,
maybe running backs, dude, that they say are starter caliber, right? 15 to 20 coming out.
If they got somebody, they could potentially, because like you said, it's a deep class, so they could get somebody later and put them in RB3 and just learn off of them, and then pick whatever free agent next year to the curb.
All right. Well, now that we're on Denver, we'll stick with the Denver theme. We'll look at
There's Ingram. One guy in Denver that I really like.
So Ingram signed 2 years in Denver. I like the deal. I think that's a great landing spot for Evan Ingram.
Me too.
They were looking for a tight end. Everyone thought they were going to probably go with Colston Loveland.
Jimmy Graham light.
Hey, when's
But,
the last time that Denver had a tight end that produced for fantasy owners? I can't. At
Shannon
least
Sharp?
4 years, right?
Sharp,
I mean,
yeah.
like
Sharp.
it's
I
like
mean,
where tight ends go to die. So I really hope that cycle ends here.
no, I
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, I'm looking at the actual coach versus the team. You know, Sean Payton's history in tight ends. I'm confident that a guy like Evan Ingram could be successful.
Yeah, remember Jimmy Graham? Jimmy Graham had some nice
Mhm.
years under Sean Payton. So, yes,
Jimmy
that was
Graham was tight end one for like 2 years or 3 years, and
yeah,
under
yeah,
him.
very good. He was a touchdown monster. All right, let's go to Houston. There's some things in Houston. So you got Kirk that was traded for 2026 seventh, which is
What's
basically
up,
nothing.
Timbo?
And then so they're going to pay the final season of his contract, which is 4 years, $72 million. Do you like that deal, Sean? Houston bringing in Christian Kirk. I mean, Tank Dell has just been so injury prone. Who knows if they're going to bring Diggs back? Probably not.
I think that move means they're not. You know, bringing in a guy like Kirk, I think their skill sets are too similar. So I agree. I agree with you. I think that because Tank Dell is like, and honestly, Tank Dell got hurt in a way that we don't know how he's going to be start the season anyway. So Kirk and Houston is obviously brought in as insurance, and to replace what Diggs is leaving behind as well. So I still think they make a move for another receiver. I just think it'll probably be in the draft at this point.
Yeah, but Sarah, this is probably just super wheels up for Nico then. I mean, Nico's just bona fide number one, should get all the targets. I mean, just, there's really no tight end there. Nico should be.
Who's the kid out of Ohio State? I can't say his name right now. Abuka, or
Oh, the guy just took in this draft.
yeah. If he goes to Houston, I think that's a really solid play right there.
It's tough to say because I mean Schultz is supposed to be a good tight end, and I don't know, what's going to go on with that. And then they have Stover. Stover's also
Zeke Elliott had some oatmeal together, and now they're both
Stover's also supposed to be a good tight end, and like they just again, it's kind of like another place where they're just like, yeah, it's a tight end, cool. But it's like, I mean, overall, I think Kirk is a nice, good, cheap way for them to get a decent wide receiver too. That I don't know if he's going to perform enough for fantasy the first year, but see if they get a connection.
Got you. All right, let's move on. We'll go to Indy, where they brought in Daniel sucks at football Jones. 1 year, $14 million. I don't know if they brought him in to really compete with Anthony Richardson. I mean, if I was Anthony Richardson, I don't think I'd be super scared.
I'd be happy if I was Irish.
So that was probably best case scenario for Anthony Richardson. I'm hoping that the news scares fantasy players where they'll stay away from Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there. We can go in and scoop them up for cheap.
All the Jones believers.
Yeah, all the Jones believers. We can scoop up A-Rich for cheap. So I'm assuming you guys are both on the same page.
Yeah. No, totally. This was like
Exactly.
You know what I think this move is to me? This move is, all right, if we have to make it look like we want to compete this year, but if AR sucks, we really don't want to be good because we need to get a quarterback next year. So this is like, we're going to bring in a guy that we know cannot win games, and we're going to be able to get one of the top 5 picks and make a move and make sure we get a quarterback next season. That's the kind of move the signing that Daniel Jones is for me.
Got you. All right. Let's move on.
Dog agrees with me.
I know. For them. I got a spring break. I got a house full of kids. So, all right, let's move on to Kansas City. Roscoe, shut up. Let's move on to Kansas City. We got Hollywood Brown, 1 year, $11 million signed. And then they brought in Elijah Mitchell, 1 year, $3.5 million, kind of the same deal that Javonte got. So you guys don't, I mean, Elijah Mitchell came in basically just a backup to Pacheco pretty much.
For sure. I don't think he's going to do anything.
I mean, he's taking Kareem Hunt's role, and if Pacheco doesn't show up like he used to, then I think Elijah Mitchell could easily be a solid play.
I just think he wasn't solid for us in SF, honestly. Like they brought him in, like even when people were injured, and
he's healthy. He's good.
He would have he was mostly bust more than he was boom, when in San Francisco anyway.
Yeah, I mean, how much longer are we gonna do this Hollywood Brown stuff? I mean, do you guys have faith in?
I've got an unpopular opinion about Hollywood. I think he's gonna have a year with Okay, they already showed like that second half with KC. Like he's obviously shown that he likes Hollywood, and I think that they're going to get a better connection here during the off season, and I think he's gonna pop off.
What about you, Sean?
I mean, I think Hollywood Brown is definitely going to have an opportunity this year because he's probably going to end up being the only receiver that's not suspended for a portion.
At least for the first few months.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an opportunity there for him. I definitely think they're going to try to open up that offense again. And with what happened with Worthy and with the potential suspension of Rice, I would not be surprised at all if the Chiefs don't try to draft another receiver also. So that could be something that happens with them. And he's got another kid in there that he can throw to that helps take a little bit of heat off of Hollywood. So as long as he stays healthy, just like I thought last year, he's the one in that offense.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll give him one more chance, but I don't know.
This will be my last
Were you
chance.
drafting him though? I mean, what kind of chance do you have to worry about getting him? What's his ADP right now? Like mid-9th round? Like it's totally worth taking him at that point.
Between 7 and 9.
If he doesn't do it this year, he's gonna have to get rid of that Hollywood name and change it to like triple budget Brown or something like that. Triple budget or Brown or something.
Why? If he's getting paid, I mean, dude, the guy's making double digit millions every year on these 1 year deals. I mean,
yeah, well, I mean,
I hate that, right?
All right, let's go to some
maybe one season to blow up, and then he's like paid like big time for one more contract. He's still young. I think he's only 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's young. He's
still young. Yeah, he's still young. All right, let's
middle-aged.
Some little more exciting news.
Middle age at 27. She's on a senior citizen.
Maybe this will be exciting for JoJo. I'm not sure. I think of it as I don't think it's a bad deal, but Geno Smith is traded to the Vegas Raiders for a third rounder. Reunites with Pete Carroll. He's in the final year of a 3-year, $75 million contract. I'll go to Sarah. Sarah, do you like this move?
I like it for Geno because he gets the coach that really likes him and wanted him there, and a coach that believes in him. I don't like it for fantasy. Like I mean, Geno already was kind of like a meh quarterback, right? Like he was your backup, So it's like now I just don't. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you.
I'm a very much non-Raiders fan, so I'm a bad person to ask. But I think it's Geno's going to be happy, but I don't know how he's going to do him.
Is this
going to ask you about the Bowers effect? Because that's where it matters. What's going to happen with Bowers now that this
is it going to make him worse or better? That's a great question. I
think it's just kind of I don't think it's going to affect Bowers. I think Bowers is going to be. He proved last year that he can be quarterback proof. I mean, it really doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. Just get the guy the ball.
I think it definitely affects him, just in a good way. I think he's going to have a much better opportunity with Geno throwing the ball than he did with either of the two that were throwing.
Oh yeah.
He might make Geno look really good too. So he might.
I mean, where does it bump you up in your draft position with Bowers now that he's got a coach and a quarterback that are really familiar with each other and work well together?
Bowers is already going so early.
I mean, Bowers is already number one anyways, I think.
Does he reach the first round for you guys?
In Dynasty, he has, not in Best Ball.
Are you taking him in the first round in Dynasty? Because I'm still not taking him in the first round.
Personally, no. But in the TEPs, like I've seen people take him.
I could see him going in Dynasty. Yes. I can see him in Dynasty going at the end of the second round.
In a TEP league, especially a full point TEP league, I'm taking him top 5.
Yeah,
I'm taking him
real early in
those quarterbacks. He might be him and Burrow are fighting for the 5th spot for me in a TEP full point.
Yeah, but that's true. In the non-TEP dynasties, he's definitely more like second round.
And this is Ballsville, so it's non-TEP.
It's very true.
Doesn't mean we can't talk about it because all these guys that play in Ballsville also play in TEP leagues, like myself. Right? You do too, Scott, right?
So wait, who are actually the Raiders wide receivers now? I know they've still have, like,
you still got Myers, you got Trey
Myers, right? And that's it, right?
And
like as far as who you might take in a draft.
They'll probably draft somebody like
they're gonna have to, like multiple somebodies.
It's just not one of those drafts where they're going to be able to get a super stud unless they can get up to get TT, but I don't know if they're going to go that route. They have so many holes.
Or they can pick somebody else up too, or make a trade.
Correct. Yeah, and like JoJo says, all he needs Bowers. I mean,
it's true. He's number one. He's wide receiver 1, TE1. He's good.
And I've seen some mocks having Genty going to the Raiders.
Me
I mean,
too.
I think that would be a perfect fit because Pete Carroll likes to run the ball, and if you can get Genty running the ball with sprinkle a little bit of Bowers in there, I mean that's really all you need. Genty and Bowers, and
Yeah.
Geno can run
I
that
think the
off.
Raiders would ruin Genty.
Dude, honestly though, if that happens, then I think Jacoby Myers is a steal. Where he's going in drafts, and if that's the case, and Genty's there, and they got those two guys to worry about, and Jacoby's just going to be grabbing all of the love out of that scenario, man.
Yeah, see, Joey, he's on the same page. Janty is the pick at 6. Yep.
That's because he wants him to be the pick
Well,
for the
I
Raiders.
think the Raiders. Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. I mean, we all know that. So
yeah,
I could totally see them.
They need running backs and wide receivers, so they're pretty desperate right now for a team.
Right. All right. Let's move on to Sarah's team because she wants to talk about Najee. So Najee signed a 1 year, $5.25 million deal. We know Jim Harbaugh likes to run the ball. I mean, does this bump Najee up a little bit, Sarah?
100%. Yeah. No, and we talked about this a little, but here's the thing. I don't know anything for sure, obviously, but I do believe that there's a very high. Sean, wait your turn. Wait your turn. Sean.
Wait your turn,
There's
Sean.
a very high. There's a very high percentage in my brain, which is like Chargers, articles all the time brain, which is like a high percentage chance that they are going to keep Dobbins and have them be this amazing like force, because why not? I don't think that Dobbins is going to be. I mean, some other teams might need a running back, but are they going to pay him more?
Did you just say the combination of Najee Harris and J.K. Dobbins is going to be this amazing force?
Yes, why wouldn't it be? Dobbins fucking killed it for Chargers last year. Why wouldn't it be?
I mean, I don't know. It's just not. I mean, I would.
Like they do the same thing.
If you came at me and said, "I've got this amazing force for you," and then you said J.K. Dobbins and Najee Harris, I'd be like, eh.
So Najee Harris ran for over 1,000 yards the last 2 seasons, and Dobbins came out and finally showed what he could do for the Chargers last year and took them essentially to the playoffs. So I'm not really sure what's up your butt.
Whoa! Ding 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 ding.
Do you think Najee breaks 1,200 yards this season?
That I couldn't say.
It depends.
Amazing force is already showing.
Yes, which means he's not RB1, right? You'd understand what a committee means, right? Like it's a little bit more than that, but especially because they do the same thing. They're kind of the same running back, right? So they would be both and they're both really good blockers. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just think that there's a lot of use for both of them. And because they both are hopefully both of them are in a team where they like to run the ball, they're going to use them both. I
think Harris would be the front runner for all the goal line work. So, yeah, I could totally see him, flirting with 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, for sure. High touchdowns.
I don't know if they're going to give Dobbins a lot of goal line work like that.
No, it's true. It's true. He's the one that breaks out a lot, so he'll probably get those top, the 3 downs. But yeah, no, I mean, they could both do a lot, including the blocking. So I don't know. I really hope they keep Dobbins because every time they get a rookie, they just fall off the map and they end up just getting some older guy that does better. So.
Well, Sarah, you know what? Don't listen to Sean because you got people that back you up in chat. We got short stack says Najee for 1,000 for sure.
I said 1,200.
He said 1,200.
Jojo says double-digit touchdowns. So yeah, you guys
says he doesn't think Dobbins stays, which I also agree with. I think
Sean just doesn't pay attention to what anyone else is doing other than Bills players, so he's just not. He doesn't even know. How many yards did James Cook get last year?
What was that?
I said, how many yards did James Cook run for last year?
James Cook? Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. I don't know. 13.
Just went off. 13, all right, let's go to another LA team. We'll go.
You're supposed to know, Sean.
Stafford staying with the
Rams. That
guy. They also signed Jimmy G as a backup for 4.5, and they brought in Devontae Adams 2 years, $46 million. Kupp is now gone. He's been released. We'll talk about possibly where maybe it would be a good fit for him. He's gonna demand a pretty good market. I don't think he's washed. He'll land somewhere. Actually, I wouldn't mind him believe it or not, I wouldn't mind him lining with the Lions. I mean, I think Lions would be a good fit for Cooper Kupp. Even though they have JMO there, they still think they need a good third receiver. Now that they don't have Patrick anymore, so I think Kupp would be a great fit in Detroit. But what do you guys think about this this Adams news? Let's start with Sean.
I love it. I think this is a great fit for him. I mean, this guy is a stud. When he was playing with good quarterbacks, so I think that he's got an opportunity now, especially having a guy like Puka that's going to demand most of the attention and the number one cornerback most of the time. I think Devontae is going to have an opportunity to blow up.
Got you, Sarah.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that Cooper wanted too much money. That's why they didn't just stick with that old guy instead of getting a different old guy that runs really fast. But like, I was surprised because, I mean, I know that he's a free agent and he was going to look, but I just know that Matt and him have like a very tight connection. But last year, the injuries might have played a big role.
I think it was the injuries.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude, stay healthy.
Devontae stays healthy. So
yeah, exactly. And Devontae's amazing. So I mean, Stafford has already worked with a guy like him with Kupp, even though Devontae's probably on like a higher tier. Like, so I think that he can really just utilize him that same way.
All right, I'll go to Sean first, then Sarah, because I want to get your guys' take on this. So how much does this hurt, if any, Puka Nacua and his draft capital?
Oh, I don't think it hurts him. I think it helps him. I think it brings like the opportunity for him to have the type of season that he had his rookie year when him and Cooper were going crazy. I mean, remember how that season played out? I definitely think that Puka's in good position now with the opportunity to have both those two plus Kyron Williams in the backfield. Stafford's still throwing him the ball. We know that the coach knows how to utilize weapons, and all those guys have skill sets that he can utilize. So I definitely think that the Rams, to me, are, spoiler alert, the Rams could easily be my pick for the Super Bowl this year.
Whoa. Okay. All right, Sarah.
Early picks. I actually 100% agree with all of that. I don't know. I think it'll be, if everyone's healthy, it's going to look like he said, just like Puka's like rookie year, where they were both just like getting the ball because nobody knew how to cover. And then they have Kyron over here running over everybody, and maybe they'll get Corum in the mix a little bit more. So yeah, I definitely think this is great for the team overall.
Yeah, I think it's
and I'm still picking Puka high up.
Yeah, I think it's great for the team overall. I might be putting the brakes a little bit just because I think Adams, if Adams goes in there and says, look, I don't care, I just want to win. So I don't care if I only get, 4 targets for, and for 4 catches. But if he goes in there and says, look, I want to have 7, 8, 9 targets a game. I mean, they can't give the targets to everybody. So does that keep Puka in the upper first round for me? I mean, the reason why Puka was so good was because when he went off, Kupp was hurt, and even when Kupp came back, Kupp was still not 100%. So, I mean, I still like Puka a lot, but I'm just saying,
so speaking of Puka, Scott, this might be a good time to bring up the fact that I am currently on the clock in one of our minis right now, and I took Puka over Amon St. Brown. And
then I took St. Brown after him. I was
and
like,
Sarah,
yes.
yeah, and Sarah took St. Brown right after me.
I was like, I can't believe he's still there.
So I'm wondering what your opinion is on that. And the reason I did that is because of the signing of Devontae Adams, not before. So, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is Sarah was just there to catch Amon-Ra going right in her lap.
Is it slipped right through your fingers?
Slipped right through your fingers. I mean, I don't see Puka Nacua getting 100 catches this year. I mean, I just don't. I mean, Amon-Ra is going to get 100 catches. So,
I mean, you don't think that Jamison Williams is going to have an effect on Amon-Ra at all? You don't think Sam Laporte? You don't think losing his offensive coordinator? You don't think any of that's going to affect his?
No, I don't think so, because you know what? Jared Goff is going to play like he did when he was with the Rams. His number one guy was Cooper Kupp. He peppered him every game. He does the same thing with St. Brown. He just peppers him every game. So, and that's why I'm saying that there's a good chance. I wouldn't surprise me if Cooper Kupp ends up in Detroit, because he's got the Jared Goff connection. So might not be depending if the Lions want to, he's going to have to come in at a reduced rate. He can't come in and expect big money. So what is this board here, Sean?
So this is where we're at right now. This is who's on the table on my pick. Do you guys want to pick with me? Well,
Oh,
except for
sure.
you, Sarah. You can't. You
Sure,
have no
live
opinion,
pick.
Sarah.
I'll pick for you.
No, Sarah, you don't get to do nothing.
I think you
I
should
was
pick
gonna
Jordan
take.
Love.
I was gonna
I think
take
you should pick
Genty.
Jordan Love right now.
So number one, I was gonna take Genty, and then JoJo took him. So good job, JoJo, sniping me like that, you butthead. So and then Sarah taking JJ really meant nothing to me because Josh Jacobs in this situation is like, oh, okay, thanks for leaving me every player left on the board that I would have wanted over him.
Oh, is that what you said last year when he probably won against your team?
Sarah, who did you take number one?
I took Jalen
Jalen
Hurts.
Hurts.
You guys are letting her crush you guys again this year in this
Can
league?
you
She got him
believe that
before
stole
me,
his
okay?
first
I was
pick?
gonna take him, and she
Jalen
sniped
Hurts
me.
and Amon Ra. I mean, what are you guys doing in this league?
I was gonna take him, but she sniped me, okay?
Oh my god. Yeah. Somebody help Sean with his draft here.
What are you
Jordan Love.
talking about? So you don't think you would have taken Mahomes there? You're so full of.
I
you're
definitely
so
would have
full of
taken
it.
Mahomes. I definitely would have taken Mahomes. But I would not have taken Puka Nacua over St. Brown.
That's because you're from Detroit, man.
No, it has nothing to do with being from Detroit. Who's on the board?
All right, so we got our top
He
guys
is-
there. Obviously,
oh.
not Tyreek Hill or Anthony Richardson. I'm not considering or Dak Prescott. So actually, we should just go ahead and go to the points. That'll probably make it easier. So I'm not looking at quarterback at this point. So we got Bucky Irvin, James Cook. We got the rookie Hampton, Mixon, Connor, Chuba, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans. I don't like Vlad McConkey, but I think honestly,
Another guy's gonna beat you later.
I think for me, I'm looking at. I don't like the way that it's doing it with points. I'm looking at Marvin Harrison myself. I'm thinking that's the route I want to go at this
This is
point. in time.
Dynasty, right? This is a Dynasty start.
No, this is our
No,
best
this
ball.
is the mini league.
This
mini
is
league.
best ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's best ball.
I would
Which
take
means
Garrett
even more you
I'd
should take
I would
Lad
take
over
Garrett Wilson. I'd take Garrett Wilson.
Marvin Harris. Oh, Garrett Wilson's on the board? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'd take Garrett Wilson.
You guys. I've already got Wilson in so many of these leagues because he keeps falling to me, and I wanted to diversify, and then you guys are pushing me right back in the same direction again.
Oh, well, I think maybe you should go ahead and take Marvin Harris then. I'm sure he's gonna have a great year.
I mean, if you want to diversify, yeah. Or I mean,
No, we'll stick with Garrett. And actually, no, you know what? I think I'm going to do exactly what Sarah said, and I'm gonna go with Lad.
Hell yeah, you should go with Lad.
That's what I'm gonna do because I don't want Sarah to get Lad.
You don't want to fall to me.
oh my god. All right, we got to move on.
Scott, that was fun, man. What are you talking about? You deserve the hell out of
That was terrible. The only thing fun about that whole draft is watching Sarah snipe you guys. So
she's all excited now too because she's like, that means whoever she wanted is probably still on the board.
all right,
Jordan Love? No, I'm just kidding.
let's move on to Miami. Just one signing. You got that's notable. You got Westbrook Akina, 2 for $6.5 million. I guess not a bad signing there. He's all right. Minnesota, you got Aaron Jones, 2 for $20. Bringing back another old running back, but he's pretty good in that system. I don't think too much to talk about there. Let's go. I don't know. Trying to move along here. All right, let's go to the Jets, the Jetropolitans. So the Jetropolitans signed Justin Fields, 2 years, $40 million. I like this move. Running quarterbacks usually open up the running game. I think this is going to be tremendous for Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson, I think that's going to be tremendous for him too. Fields played really good in Pittsburgh. I think he should have kept the job, and he didn't get to keep the job. And Russell Wilson ended up losing 6 games in a row, and it was just a disaster. So, Sean, do you like this signing?
I do. I think it's a good signing for them in the situation they're in because it's like 2 years, $20 million each year, I think. So it's like a $40 million deal for 2 years, which I'm guessing means that there's an out for them after year 1 without too much of an issue. So, I think it's the right type of deal for a team like that's in that situation that they're in. He's a guy that can come in, have some familiarity with your number 1 receiver. You can see how that season goes. If it doesn't go well, you can easily shift gears in a different direction in a draft that's got a lot better quarterback opportunities. So, I definitely think that this is the type of move that I would have made if I was them. I like this better than a move that we're probably going to be talking about here in the near future. that involves a quarterback getting paid, slightly more money that I think is really not much better. So, I definitely do feel like this is a good deal for them. And I hate saying that because you know how much we hate the Jets on this podcast.
Yeah, but I think that was a good move for them. What about you, Sarah?
I don't hate the Jets. Why do you hate the Jets?
Just because it's always fun. It riles Connor up and he gets all worked up.
Because they make such
You just
bad
hated
decisions.
Aaron Rodgers. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care one way or another, but I think this is great. I've always liked Justin Fields. I think he's always shown these little like bits of like talent, and every team's like, "Oh, I give up on you after 1 year," and you're like, "What do you do?" Like,
That's
groom the
because
guy,
every time he shows that talent, he shows 3 plays where he misses wide open people.
Well, I mean, he's got to get his bearings, but hopefully this is a good spot for him, and I like it.
All right, let's move on to Philly. Saquon, 2-year extension, $41 million, well deserved. It's funny how, when players go to like great landing spots, they all of a sudden don't get hurt anymore. They, go crazy on the field. So
I wouldn't say that the injuries have anything to do with that. I think the injuries are the fact that they're just getting beat up more if they're on a crappy team, not so much that they're like faking anything.
Well, no, I don't think, I'm not saying that.
And he never said that.
I'm not saying Barkley ever faked an injury, but I'm just saying it seems like
I don't know.
maybe with Philadelphia,
past,
with Philadelphia, he's playing through some injuries more than he would with New York.
Or he's just not getting hit enough to get injured. I mean, the dude's jumping up in the air with
him better here for sure.
Players, confident as hell that he's jumping over the top of him, sticking his balls first at him. I mean, that you got that type of confidence, that your blockers are there for you.
Yeah. What do you like this deal, sir? You like the extension, obviously, and then where do you got
to pay your players.
Yeah. Now and now that we know he's going to be there for a couple more years, where would you go? I mean, let's go to Sean. Or you're not a running back person, are you? Are you, Sarah? In the first couple?
Yeah, I like running backs. So you're going to ask about Gainwell or getting a rookie?
No. I was gonna ask you in Dynasty, where would you take Saquon?
Oh, gotcha. I can already tell you right now, like I've already seen him go like within the first 2 rounds. But I mean, I would probably, me personally, like I am a running back person. If he's still available at the end of the first, I'm gonna pick him up.
Even in Dynasty?
Well, I mean, maybe second, maybe the end of the second. But I mean, honestly, he's going to be gone before the end of the second, even in Dynasty. He's got 2 years, and then I mean, he's just going to explode. He's going to kill it, and then you could sell him high the second year. I mean, I wouldn't take him any later than. I don't think he'd be around any later than the end of the second round. Like, no way.
That's fair. What about you, Sean?
I'm not taking him as early as he's going, but yeah, I mean, I would probably take him in like mid-3rd round at that point in a dynasty league. And the reason I say it is because I'm not. So, look at all the guys that have had like these 2,000-yard seasons in history. Like they usually don't come back like super strong the next year and have just this amazing badass season. They usually take a pretty significant step backwards. And the demand's already going to be, I think 27 this year. So I think by the end of next season, he'll be pushing that 28 and the 29 for the following season, so he's starting to hit that wall. The guy's had injury issues in the past, I mean, just, we were talking about Christian McCaffrey just a year ago at this time, like he was God, before the injury issue. I say 2 years ago, I should say now, because last year was a bad one, but we had the McCaffrey at the same type of, pedestal that we're putting Barkley on right now. And to me, it's just an age thing for Barkley. I think he's just old enough to where I don't think he's going to have a super solid year this year that makes it worth picking him over guys like Kyron Williams or, somebody like that that's been taken behind him. Achane I've seen taken behind him, which I think is insane. So, those types of things, like I would definitely not be taking him just because I'm not confident in that, beyond the 2 year, beyond even this next season, really seeing that this guy's going to be a super stud for us. I like the younger backs better.
Okay.
I don't agree with any of that analysis. I think we should.
You want to take that? So let's put Barkley had 2,000 yards this year, right, Sarah?
I'm not saying that he's going to like top what he did or like get
Big Tom's
exactly
pretty
the
good, but
same. But I think
he's
he's
the
going
best
to
running
be.
back in the history of football. Like
I
that.
do. He's still going to probably put up better numbers than Kyron and A-Chain next year.
You
Don't
think
think
so?
he can do what Derrick Henry
Over
did?
A-Chain?
Okay, so I'll take Achan. All right, I'll take Achan on that. Do you want to pub sub that Achan
Yeah, let's do
over?
it.
Yeah.
15
Uh-oh,
minutes.
ding, ding, ding. Pub sub.
All right.
What do we
15
got
minutes.
here?
Sorry, I'm writing it down. I can't
You're the
ding.
one talking about not doing any pub subs, and I've already got 2 in the
Oh, I
books.
can't
Like,
wait
this is
till I see
ridiculous.
Sarah's short. Sarah's short on X for this pub sub.
Okay, so I just think he's gonna score higher fantasy points than both A-Chain and Kyron Williams.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna put 2 guys on the line versus your
Okay,
one guy. That's gonna hurt my
you have more
odds.
faith in A-Chain. You
Yeah,
have more
I
faith in
bet
So you're
A-Chain.
one.
taking
Okay.
more fantasy points, Barkley, Sarah, and more fantasy points, Barkley or A-Chain, Sean?
Over A-Chain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
Scott, do you want to take Kyron Williams over Barkley and do a pub sub with Sarah?
No, I'm
or
not
Barkley?
gonna do it.
Now hold on a second. Let's just talk about injuries real quick.
No.
Is this barring any injuries?
I mean, it's totally up to you. I'm fine with whatever you want to do. I mean, if injuries happen, I definitely don't care if you want to cancel it out, even if it's your
I guess
guy
it
that
depends. If either of them are out three
my guy.
games, I'm saying no. Let's keep going with this. But yeah, if it's longer, if it's like a 3-month thing or whatever, then it's the whole season.
You guys better
It's like a
put
lot
something
more.
in. You guys better put something in writing, but I don't know.
What do you
Sarah.
mean in writing, bro? This shit's on recorded.
It's all recorded.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Witnesses,
We'll
man.
cross that when we get there, Sean.
I'm
We'll
saying
talk about that
about the
privately.
injury designation. The injury designation. You guys can't just
Yeah.
be going, oh, well, if it's this game or that. You got to say, look, it's this or it's that.
It's true. I think Sean and I will be able to talk about it if either of them get injured, how we feel about the fairness of it. I'm open. I'm open as well.
I know. Yeah, Joey, I know I need to
about it.
square away with you. I'll just tell it to you or something because obviously we're not going to see each other enough time to get you an actual sub. Unless you want me to
it'll
like,
just be money. Yeah,
grub
it'll
hub
just be
you
money.
or
I don't even know what a
something.
pub sub is. I'm from California. I have no idea what that is.
Or you can bring your butt out to Vegas and August.
She's coming
20
out.
In August.
26th.
coming
Yeah,
out.
August 26th.
I'll see you
She's
then,
coming
but
out.
the season won't be over. So.
All right, let's move on. We're running up
Moving
against
on.
it. Got to get to some trade talks. So let's go to Pittsburgh. We had DK Metcalf was traded for 2025 second. Pittsburgh signed him to a 5-year, $150 million contract. So DK is now the new number 1, and Pickens is the number 2. So
Right now, I think Pickens might be moving on.
well, I don't think he's going to move on this year.
I think they might trade him. The man was unhappy last year, and he ain't going to be happy being the second highest paid receiver on his team.
So do you like this deal or you don't like this deal, Sean?
Oh, I love it for the Steelers. I think Pickens is butthurt as hell, but I love it for the Steelers. I mean, we all know what's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion that Rodgers is going to get there as soon as he's done taking ayahuasca and having his fun. He's going to sign up and he'll be a Steeler, and that's what'll happen. And then Russell will probably go to the Giants as soon as that happens, and this quarterback carousel will be over. But yeah, that's all. I think that those two players in that offense, they keep Pickens and they have DK, and my guess is that they're probably going to draft a back as well. So they're probably going to look to get one of these younger stud backs in the draft. And, they'll come out and they'll be a good team. Freiermuth is still a good player. We know Aaron Rodgers loves his tight ends. And so, they'll be a good team, I think. Maybe slightly better than they were last year. They'll have another Tomlin winning season and maybe one and done in the playoffs, or maybe they win one in the playoffs, but then they get crushed in the second game.
All right, Sarah, do you like this deal?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, it depends on who the quarterback is. Those are great. Sure, they're great wide receivers. They could do a lot depending on who's throwing them the ball. I just don't know what it's going to look like until we know who's the quarterback. And if it is Aaron, if he's going to do anything for them. You know what I mean? So
if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, are you in or out?
Last year, I really thought Aaron was going to come in with a force and just be like, yeah, I'm Aaron Rodgers. This is what I do. But now I'm like, I don't know if he's still got anything left in him. So he seems to be a lot of talk. And if he's as controlling as you think he is, Scott, every time he joins a team, then he's just going to break everyone down. I don't think that's good.
So I'm hearing that he was intrigued about the possibility of being the backup quarterback in Minnesota.
What?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said
So he admits that he can't handle being QB1 anymore.
Yeah. So all I'm saying here is that this guy's he wants to be Tom Brady. He's never going to be Tom Brady. So that ship is long
I think that the
sailed.
backup quarterback is just Aaron Rodgers doing Aaron Rodgers things. He's just
You
talking.
know what? If he ends up in
He does
Pittsburgh, I am out on all Steeler players.
Right.
I don't think so. I think he'll play a lot better than Russell Wilson played in that offense.
Really?
I don't know. Russell Wilson actually got Pickens the ball a few more than
especially if they get a really good running back. Like they're probably going to re-sign Warren. I'm assuming they're just waiting for him to realize that
they brought in Gainwell. They brought in Gainwell on a 1-year deal. So I don't think they're going to bring anybody in. I think it's going to be Gainwell and it's going to be
then the rookie
Warren. It's going to be Gainwell and Warren. He's got Freiermuth.
But was Warren re-signed yet? Did they re-sign Warren yet? Because he's a free agent too.
I'm assuming they're probably going to sign him. I mean, he's been good for him. He's still quite young. He doesn't have a lot of money.
They bring in a rookie, dude. I really do. I think they draft a rookie in their top 2 rounds.
Yeah, but they'll still probably use Warren as,
They like Warren, so
yeah,
I think they bring Warren back in, but I think they bring in a rookie and they look to do like the Achane role. Like Achane's rookie season. That's kind of what I expect them to do. Like work a guy in that ends up being their obvious one by the end of the year.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to skip a couple that aren't super exciting, but
we're
going to go to Seattle and where they signed Sam Darnold 3 years, $100.5 million to Seattle. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad for Sam Darnold. I mean, he cashed in, which is great for him, but he went from like the quarterback whisperer to Mike McDonald, which actually had some pretty good offense with Geno in there, but you lose DK, you still have JSN. Who knows if they're signing Lockett? Do you like this deal, Sarah?
I mean, I like that Sam is getting a long-term starting position somewhere, and that like a team is ready to believe in him. And I really hope that they can build up some offense around him, because if they do, I think he could, they could be really, really good. But
how much more
I just
of an
don't
offense to build? They've got 2 solid
wide
receivers
really.
Back. I mean,
Does it, Sean? Does this?
I mean,
hurt?
they have
Does
one really
JSN?
solid
Does
receiver.
this hurt JSN? Does it hurt JSN?
what's that? The Sam Darnold signing? Absolutely.
No, I think this brings JSN up. Really? What?
No, I think JSN got hurt by the Sam Darnold signing, but he got helped more by the DK loss. So it's kind of like it's not a wash. It still is a bump in general.
Do you not think Sam Darnold's a
but
good passer?
No.
Why do you think this hurts?
I don't.
Okay. All right.
I think Sam Darnold was another Kevin O'Connell redemption story, and we saw his ceiling and we saw him hit it and then collapse underneath the pressure. And I don't think that anybody else is going to be able to get him to not see ghosts. And when the guy gets to a certain point, he collapses, man. He's not a pressure. He doesn't rise to the pressure kind of a guy. He's a guy that just like collapses when it happens. And I feel like that's going to be the case when, he's on a team that's not able to, maximize his potential and have like a Justin Jefferson out there who, worst case scenario, he can always just fling it up in Justin's direction and know he's going to at least, worst case, be incomplete.
Sorry, I just got completely sidetracked by the Mike Williams news.
Yeah, I just saw that. So Mike Williams is back with the Chargers. Wow.
I loved him with the Chargers before he got injured every 3 months. Like, like him and Justin had such a great connection before he just flopped. So I don't know.
That's a team. Like, what do you think they're going to do?
I have to process this before I have a feeling about
who's
it.
their number one receiver? Who's the?
You
who's
know
the
that I think it's Ladd,
receiver?
and that it's always going to be Ladd. I don't care who they.
No matter what. What if they like draft like somebody this year, like Ladd?
Do you think they can draft at their spot?
No matter what. What if T. Higgins comes next year or something like that? Do you think
Okay,
Ladd is better?
They can't afford T. Higgins, first of all. Like, I'm just saying, like, Ladd's going to be their starter. They have a great connection. They love Ladd. He loves Ladd. He'll get some more muscle on him as he gets older.
Do you think Ladd's a wide receiver one? Like, is he a legit wide receiver one?
Yes. bias and all.
I think he is on his. He is on his team, but who knows what's going to happen.
He is on his team, exactly. I mean, it would take somebody like I'm not saying that he's not going to have like a solid wide receiver too at some point that's going to battle him for it. But Ladd, I mean, he does something different.
All right, let's move on. 2 more teams. Actually, I'm just going to scroll through this one. So Tampa Bay signed Chris Godwin, 3 years, $66 million. But we're going to go to Washington. And Washington traded a 5th rounder for Debo. They pick up his $17.5 million contract. So Debo's there. He wants to be a number 1. Well, he ain't going to be a number 1 there. Terry McLaurin's number 1. No, they signed Zach Ertz, 1 year, $6 million. And they brought back Marcus Mariota for 1 year, $8 million. Sean,
that guy's just been getting paid, hasn't he? His whole career,
he's $8 million.
He's getting paid. You gotta love it because he's the nicest guy in the world. It seems like. So I'm like, I'm cool with him getting paid. He just constantly is like just hanging around getting paid. Like I'm good with that.
When you have a son and he grows up and maybe he's not like the greatest at football, but he's good enough to make it to the pros, you tell him, look, dude, backup quarterback. You'll make like $5 million a year and you'll never get hurt. And hope you never have to go in there.
Right? Or not touchdown. It was clipboard Jesus. He was the backup in San Diego for how long? Decade? The man, I think he got on the field like for 4 plays in 10 years or something.
God, yeah. So funny. So do you guys so what do you guys like, Sean? What do you think about Debo signing?
I like the Debo move. I think that's a good place for him. I think that's gonna really what that does for me is I think that's gonna add to their running game more so. I think Debo goes back to running the ball a lot more than he used to towards the end of his Niners career, like more towards like beginning of his Niners career. And they're gonna try to run the crap out of him for the year or 2 that he's got left in him, and get the most they can out of him. So I like it. I think it's a good move for him. I like that Jaden Daniels is the type of quarterback that can get him the ball and in stride, so that he can just continue to move on down the field and do his Debo thing. So, yeah, I think it's a good move. I like that move for them a lot.
Sarah?
Yeah, I agree. I love Debo with the Washington Commanders, and I think that everything that Sean said.
Yeah.
Jaden's a great quarterback for him and everything, and all his trick plays and his running.
Wait a minute. Can you say that again, Sarah? Everything that Sean said is?
I don't remember. I completely blacked out.
Yeah, I think it was time for him to get a change of scenery. I think the Commanders will be a good fit. Oh, did I say Commanders? I meant Redskins. Redskins will be a good fit.
I thought we were over that, Scott. All right, I thought we moved on. This is like 3 seasons deep now that we've been beyond that name. Like, come on, man.
No.
That was 3 names ago.
It's one of the most iconic logos ever, and it's always going to be the Redskins to me. So anyways, let's move on.
Guys.
Let's go to. So that's for free agency. Oh, one more quick thing before we go.
I like the Washington football team best.
I know, right? That was a dope one.
They did that in hockey.
WFP, right?
In hockey, they got the Utah Hockey Club because they haven't figured out a name yet for that team.
Yeah, they keep trying to let the fans vote, and they keep voting in the craziest names. They're like, we can't do that. We got to start over.
They should just say, it's so easy. They should just name them the Utah Mormons, or something like that.
Oh God, no, bro. The Utah Pollies.
Yeah. Fair. So, all right, let's move on. We're going to go to a segment. I know everyone's waiting for this segment. It's Sean's favorite segment, but I can never remember the name of this segment. Sean, can you help us with the name of the segment?
The segment that you are referring to is Trade Talks.
That's it?
Yeah, I gave you a nice soft entrance.
Oh my God. All right, I guess we're in there must
Hey, come on now. We can't always be overly bombastic.
He can do it because
I'm a fucking pimp.
All right, we have 10.
I forgot about that.
10 trades that we're going to evaluate. And Sean, a lot of these trades are in the new dynasty startups, right?
Yes. So we have 2 trades that we're going to talk about that are from our previous dynasty leagues that involve, some future rookie picks and then current players that are on rosters. And then we have a special edition of Trade Talks for you guys, where we're basically going to run through the 8 trades that happened in the first 10 rounds of one of our startups that is happening currently in our Dynasty Leagues. So you guys will get to see how people are approaching their draft strategies when it comes to trades in these Dynasty startups for 2025. So I'm really excited about that. I think it'll be a fun little breakdown for you guys. So let's get started, shall we?
Yep. And before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe to the podcast. It really helps out a lot. Please go to theballsvillegame.com for all your fantasy needs. The website is looking great. Alex does a tremendous job on it. So please go and give us a like and definitely check out the website. Thank you.
Yeah, we got some really awesome things. I mean, the next 3 months to 4 months or so, that website is going to be supercharged. So you guys, it's going to be really exciting, guys. We're throwing on a couple of turbos and a nice exhaust kit on our website. So it's going to be running full speed here really soon. But all righty, so let's get into some of these trade talks. First one up is Tiamat League. I should have made Scott say that. It's Shawnee Mac 24 trading for Saquon Barkley and a 2026 third rounder. He is making the deal with Mean Machine 922, and Mean Machine is receiving DK Metcalf and Kyron Williams in exchange. What say you, Sarah?
I was just talking about Barkley and how he's going to score more than Kyron Williams. So I would want more for Barkley. Not more as in I don't think Kyron's enough, but instead of DK, I would have wanted maybe a first and a different wide receiver. However, I'm also not trading Kyron Williams. So I also wouldn't want to, I would want to change this. If I was going to sell Barkley and take Kyron, I would want a little bit more. I would want to sell him a little bit higher. But it's a decent trade depending on what happens with poor Metcalf.
So you're saying that you would have expected more in return for Barkley?
Only because I really like picks and firsts when you're trading a guy like Barkley. So I do like Kyron in the trade, but maybe instead of Metcalf, I would have wanted a first or a first and a different wide receiver or something like that. That's just me.
Interesting. Where do you stand on that, Scott?
I guess a lot of it depends on who the quarterback's going to be in Pittsburgh. If it's creaky old Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to be happy, but I'm still going to accept the deal. I love Kyron Williams. I've always loved Kyron Williams. He's a few years younger than Saquon, and then you get DK, who's a tremendous talent. Hopefully, you can get a quarterback in there that can get him the ball. So yeah, I'll take the two pieces. The win now pieces. Saquon's a nice player, but are you going to really get 2 more years out of him? He did sign for 2 years, but these guys, it doesn't matter. People understand Father Time doesn't stop for anybody except possibly Derrick Henry.
Henry.
If Saquon's going to be Derrick Henry, great, but I'm not really banking on it. So I'll take the 2 players.
Quick question though, because Barkley, Aaron Jones is older than Barkley and still getting decent fantasy points. You don't think Barkley can outplay Aaron Jones?
I'm not saying Barkley's gonna but like Sean said earlier, he just came off a 2,000-yard season. So Mean Machine's selling him at a high, and I think he's getting 2 very good players who are still quite young.
So you think that's a high price? All right, okay. Maybe I'm not giving Metcalf enough. I'm not. I'm a
little nervous on who the quarterback's going to be, but
I think this is a no-brainer, and I think I am with Scott. This is a no-brainer for me. I am instantly accepting Metcalf and Kyron over Barkley and a 2026 third.
Well, of course you are. You didn't sell Barkley high enough.
Well, Kyron Williams is younger than Barkley, and he's potentially he could easily pull a 2,000 season out of his ass this year too. He's behind a great team.
If it's a no-brainer that's the winning thing, then that just shows that he didn't sell.
It's not. No, that's not the reason it's a no-brainer. Sarah, can I finish, please? It's a no-brainer because the K Metcalf is far better than the third that's involved in this. So even the difference between Kyron and Barkley, which is not as much as I think, make that third a second in 2026, you're still killing it by getting DK for a second. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm taking DK and Kyron all day.
It just shows my point either way.
All right.
I'm not selling Kyron, so don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm taking Barkley in the third. I did not say I'm taking Barkley in the third. I said I'm not selling Kyron. So don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying it could have gotten more.
You thought that you should have got more for Barkley, right? So the winner of this trade for you is Shawnee Mack, right?
No, because I'm not selling Kyron.
No,
like I'm trying to tell you like my thoughts on the trade in general.
She likes the Mean Machine side.
So we all pick Mean Machine then.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you picked Shawnee Mack. So I guess we're all in agreement. I thought I had a tiebreaker.
She just said that she thought, should have got more for, well, I guess, yeah. I think she wanted to be Machine. So let's just move on. Next trade. Too much time on that one.
Whoops, sorry.
All right, Deathwing 716. So this trade took place in one of our previous leagues, just like the previous trade. So this is C. Sims and Jay Morris. Those are two of our regular guys here. We got Jay Coker, Tank Bigsby, and Brenton Strange going to C. Sims in exchange for Geno Smith, Tank Dell, and a 2026 third. So, I mean, I'll go ahead and go first real quick. I think that, based on everything, the best player on the board to me is still Tank Dell, even though he's injury prone. So I'd probably lean that route. Plus, you're getting a quarterback in a super flex. So I'd probably go that route in this one and go towards Jay Morris for 10. But I wouldn't call it like a terribly lopsided deal either way. What do you think, Sarah?
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, with having a quarterback in there with Tank, it really is the quarterback that tips it for me just a little bit because, like you guys always talk about, like that's kind of a spot it's not a one quarterback league. So yeah, I agree for those reasons. And not very highly tipped either. Very close, but Gino kind of tips it for me.
Yeah, where are you at, Scott?
Well, I mean, I love acquiring quarterbacks, but I just don't like Tank Dell. I mean, I don't think he's going to come back from this injury. I mean, it's so bad. And they brought in Kirk, and I don't think he's going to be the player that he was. And Coker's a nice young talent. Bigsby's decent talent. Now that Ingram's out of Jacksonville, I mean, is Strange going to be the tight end there? I mean, they like him. So, even though I've always liked the core, I'm just, I'll just go with 3 package players. I'll just take C Sim side. I'll just take the 3 dudes. To give away Geno, the giveaway Geno, you better have a pretty strong quarterback stable, and I'm assuming C Sims does. So I'll take Coker Strange, the law firm of Coker Strange and Bigsby.
There you go. I would hire that law firm.
That's nice. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, I would hire that law firm. They sound like they know what they're doing. All right, so we got 2-1 on that deal. So definitely think that one was close enough to where that could easily be the case. So I like that.
It was definitely close.
So the next set of trades that we have is where we're going to start our breakdown. So this is the first trade. Of course, I'm involved in it, right? So this is the first trade that took place in this league. Okay, so this took place in the second pick of the draft, guys. And obviously, I was trading up to the 102 to get Josh Allen. So I traded up from the 102, sent the 203 and the 103 rookie pick to move up to 102 for Josh Allen. It ended up being Jahmyr Gibbs at the 203. So he got the 203 and the 103 rookie pick for Josh Allen. So where do you guys stand on that?
Rookie pick for Josh Allen. So who do you guys see going at 103 rookie? Do you think
it's going to be a
Ted makes it that far? Do you think Ward drops to the third pick?
Well, the only way TB is going to trade Josh Allen is if he plans on taking a quarterback with that 103.
Well,
So
as long as Ward is still available at 1-3,
well,
right?
Sanders could be there too.
That'd be an early pick for Saunders, but yeah.
Well, I mean, you're not trading away Josh Allen unless you're getting.
Well, exactly. Well, then you got to think about is it worth it to get Sanders and Gibbs for Josh Allen? If Ward's gone.
I don't like any scenario possible giving up Josh Allen. Josh Allen to me is worth 3 first-round picks. So,
F.U. Gibbs.
But so do you think that Gibbs is worth 2 first-round picks? Because that would basically be 3 first-round picks if you look at Gibbs as 2 first-round picks. Like if you're just trading for Gibbs, would you give up 2 mid-firsts
for Gibbs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like buying. In Dynasty, I don't like buying running backs. I don't want to buy.
Yeah, you
backs.
don't.
Their shelf life is not very long, and I just think you got to pay too much for them, and I'd rather just play running back by committee.
I agree with
Sean,
you.
I think.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sure. I think you won this trade. When I'm selling picks in dynasties and startups, if it's the 1-2, I want more than 2-3 in a rookie pick. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I definitely think you won this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, to me, it was a pretty even trade at the time because you're looking at, the drop back. The thing that makes it harder for me is that he ended up taking, which I don't hate that he took Gibbs where he took him, but I don't like the fact that he didn't take a quarterback at that point. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you look at the next slide, you can see that as the draft fell down there, he could have taken Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, Drake May, or Bo Nix. Any one of those 4 quarterbacks went behind him in that round. So that's the only thing for me is if he'd have taken one of those 2 quarterbacks and then gotten the 103, then I think he wins that trade.
I could probably. Well, I mean,
wait, but didn't he get Justin Herbert there at the end of the second? It looks like. It's kind of
yes,
small,
he did. So it actually worked out for him in that light. Now that you mentioned that, because I didn't even think about the fact that he did get Herbert right there.
He did get Herbert, yeah, and then he got
up,
Bryce Young later.
That's a pretty solid take for me because I probably would have snuck in there and taken Herbert at 2-3 because I'm high enough on Herbert.
So Gibbs and so I mean, I still think he won by a little, but seeing who he ended up getting with those, there, it's not like his team's bad. That's for sure. He even got the stack there with Ladd.
Yeah, but this trade was this trade done before?
This is a startup trade. Nobody had taken.
Yeah, it was done before that second pick.
Yeah, so he
was on the clock with pick 2 when I made that trade.
It looks better on his part because Herbert fell in his lap, but before that happened, to me, I don't like the deal. I'm keeping Josh Allen. I'm not trading Josh Allen for a random pick in Jameer Gibbs. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten things as high as like a first rounder.
That's because your mind's stuck on Jameer Gibbs. If he'd have taken one of those other quarterbacks with that pick instead of Gibbs, though, you're looking at like Herbert and the 103 for Josh Allen.
Well, you didn't even have to give up a first, like your later first. You know what I mean? You got 2 first-round picks, and Josh Allen.
I still think 2 firsts are still a quarterback, and then another first still would be enough. Josh Allen just signed a 6-year deal for $300 million, so he's not going anywhere.
You guys talk this good about my quarterback.
He's not going anywhere. I want the best
everyone loves Josh.
Plus, he runs the ball. So I mean, I'm not trading him. I'm not trading him for unless I'm getting, I'm getting a Herschel Walker deal.
I feel you. I mean, I can't say that I wasn't happy to get the deal made, but I don't think that it's as bad as it maybe seems, just based on the fact that he didn't go with quarterback there and took the chance and paid off for him, but took the chance of waiting.
It was a risk. No, but just looking at numbers, I mean, I've sold the 101 and 102 for a lot more. So I mean, not that I knew it was what the rookie pick was going to be, though, right? In most startups, you don't know that, so that's one good luxury. He knew it was going to be the 103 rookie pick, but
yes,
either way, usually people are giving up like their late first plus a third and like a 26 first or something. You know what I mean? Or sorry, a rookie pick, whatever.
Yep. Right. So moving on to the next trade we had. The next trade happened 3 picks later. As you can see, it was between Jimbo's Bimbos and GLC76. So what happened here was Jimbo was moving up to get to the 105 after he had already taken Jamar Chase at the 102 spot. So he wanted to get that stack for Burrow. So that's what he ended up giving up to move up. He gave up the 210, the 303, a 2026 second, and the 110 rookie pick. So
all for Burrow. All for
105
Burrow.
straight up, all for
Mhm.
Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think about that deal at that point?
I would never pay that much for Burrow.
That's a lot. I mean, if Burrow was like 25, maybe, but 28's, I mean, it's not super old, but I mean, I'm not saying it can't work out, because if you can have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on your team and win a championship. I mean, if those two go off, like they should, you can win a championship with those two dudes. So yeah, he gave up a lot, to get him, but he's stacking them with Chase, and I'm not going to kill him for it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot to give up, but I mean, if you want your guy, go get your guy.
For sure. Yeah, exactly.
But you're going to die
on it.
But you know what? You're going to die on the Cincinnati Hill. So, if those guys can't get hurt, and they gotta have like a freaking monster year.
So I'm wondering if he would have been able to get him without the 26 second, just the second, third, and 110 rookie pick.
I mean, shoot, to me, I think he should have been able to get him without both those
Without
picks.
the third or the second.
He should have either thrown in like a fifth back to himself also. So he would have given up like the 105 to go to the 210, and then the 303 to go to like the, what would it be, like the 510 for that round, and
no rookie pick.
That rookie pick, yeah, just the one.
Pick. Yeah. Totally.
So, and I don't think it's a terrible trade other than that. I just don't, for me, and I talked to him about this too, because, we're all buddies with Jimbo. And I told him, I was like, man, for me, I just don't like to throw away a top 6 round pick, like just outright, just give it away. I would have wanted like a top, a 5 or a 6 rounder back in that deal, and then I would have been comfortable with it. But just to throw away a top 3 round pick like that, 303 ended up, as we could see as we move forward, 303 ended up being CJ Stroud, which the reason he wasn't listed is because there was multiple trades that involved CJ Stroud that we're going to talk about here in a minute with that 3-3 pick. But that's basically the pick that I think he should have returned, like the 5-10, or it would have been the 5-5, it looks like, from GLC.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, next slide.
The next one was a real small little trade where I basically jumped up from 110 to 107. I gave up the 210 and for a 3-pick jump. And the reason I did that is because Patrick Mahomes was on the board and I wanted Mahomes. And so it ended up being Mahomes for Neighbors, and the 210 was the way it played out.
You don't think he would have made it to 110?
I didn't think so, honestly, and I even if he did, to be honest with you, it was one of those situations where the 210 for me was not enough to say I want to make sure I get it instead of like taking the chance, which is why I did it. Like the 210 to me is not a high enough hit rate where it's going to stop me from being able to snag like a Patrick Mahomes in a dynasty startup,
just to guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty even trade. I mean, I think Sims moved back a little bit, still got an elite talent in Malik Neighbors. And then the 210, like Sean said, I mean, I still think the 210 is still a good pick because the running back class is pretty deep. You should be able to get a decent running back at 210 if you're going to go that direction. But like I said, Sean gets an elite quarterback, which, like I said, in Dynasty, the hardest way to acquire a quarterback is, or the easiest way to acquire a quarterback is in your startup. So you go get your quarterbacks.
Yeah. And as we see the way that this is going to play out here, that is exactly what I did. And that is a strategy that we've talked about quite a bit, Scott. And that's where we're going to get into right now, because you brought it up at the perfect time. Because that's exactly what we're going to do from here is we're going to talk about the way that these quarterbacks played out and the strategy that was utilized and how it ended up playing out, taking quarterbacks as opposed to position players and kind of, basically like throwing monkey wrenches in the rest of the people's playbooks to an extent. So that's kind of how it worked out. And then Sarah, where do you fall on this before we move forward? Did you feel the same
I
way?
think it's totally even. Yeah, I think that's that's a fair trade.
So so moving forward after that trade, we came around the block. The TB trade was part of the one that we had discussed. So the next trade that comes up is a trade with myself, where involving that 303 pick. So what I did is I talked to GLC and I moved up from 303 and I got the 303, or I'm sorry, I moved up to the 303 and got the 303 and 6.8 in exchange for the 510, 710, my 2026 first, and my 3.3 rookie pick. So where do you guys stand on that one? I'll let you guys break it down since I'm involved.
I mean, I don't see, these are the type of trades. I don't really like trading a lot. So, I mean, there's too many moving pieces for me. It's too galaxy brain for me. I don't like moving around all over the place like that. So I probably wouldn't, be able to give a real good evaluation of this, but
Do you want me to make it easy for you and just tell you that it's a
Sean's good at these
a
deals.
1 round jump?
Sean's good at these deals. I mean, I don't really get.
I do trade a lot in startups, but I haggle a lot as much as possible. Sean is actually a really good trader because he has messed me up a couple times. But this trade, I believe that I don't like not knowing who was on the board or who you got. Let's say you made this trade like when it was still in like the second round or something. You weren't sure who you were going to get at 3-3. Then, I feel like, or because you were just shooting for somebody or whatever, I feel like
I traded up
a tiny bit.
I was moving
yeah,
up
so
to
I would have
CJ
said,
Stroud.
yeah. So like to me, like the 3-6 and the 5-7 are pretty, probably just needed like the 26 first with that. I don't know if the rookie pick was necessary. It just a tiny bit overpaid maybe, but it just depends because if you really knew who you wanted, then it was, again, it was one of those situations where you were going for a specific guy.
Yeah, and then you're dead on, Sarah, with your evaluation of it, because that's exactly what it was. Is CJ Stroud had fallen to 3-3, and I felt like in a startup at that point, even though I had Patrick and Allen already, I really wanted to take that. If you guys are going to let these quarterbacks fall, I'm going to take them, and you're going to have to come to me when you're ready. And that's pretty much what I did. So I jumped up there and I took CJ with that 3-3, and that's why I was willing to add the third. So for me, the way I look at this trade, guys, and this is since Scott couldn't give us a breakdown, maybe I can coach him up a little, is I look at the value on what I'm trying to get for a first rounder is usually somewhere between, like, depending on, first to fifth round is when I don't want to trade him after that. But that first to fifth, maybe sixth is the most round. I want to take a 3 to 4, maybe 5 round jump at the most to get, from one spot to another if I'm giving up a future first. That's kind of my just like rule of thumb. And it's just like the way I do it. It's not like anything out there. But so I'm looking at the value of this. I couldn't get him to drop, from the 303 to the 6 like I, wanted. I just wanted initially 303, drop down to my 6th rounder and be done with it with the first. And that was what I was hoping for. He didn't want to do that. He wanted me to only drop 2 rounds. So in order for me to do that, to drop from the 303 to the 510, I made him come up 1 round from 710 to 608. So that I could get an extra round into this top 6, which is where my, tier break is for me. I want to have more picks in the top 6. So that was why I did it that way, to incorporate that extra round in there that I wanted for my 3 round minimum. And then he threw in that 3rd rounder to make him feel better, which to me, I'm a little bit more along the thread of 3rd rounders are kind of, if it's what it takes to get the trade done, I'm okay with that because there's such a low hit rate on them anyways that I'm not going to go crazy, letting that be the reason I don't make a deal.
Right. No, I mean, it's I understand why you did it now. I mean, like I said, it's just, try to get as many picks as you can, I guess, in the top 72. That's probably what most people want to do, is try to get as many picks as they can. And you were able to identify a quarterback in CJ Stroud who dropped to the 3rd round, which should not have been there. So no, I get it. I mean, Sean's learning. I mean, as far as like being the quarterback whisperer, I mean, he's realizing that And
I like
hate
how
to
he
do it.
talks about, I don't like to make startup trades, and then he goes, oh, Sean's learning.
Well, no, he's learning. No, he's learning the position of quarterback in a super flex dynasty startup. So I don't know why I keep harping this because that's my strategy, and I don't want people to do that. So, but
What's up, Byron? Yes, sir. This is still live.
But yeah, the long-term value on the position at quarterback in dynasty is just, way longer than everybody else. So,
What's up, Brian?
all right, move on.
Yeah, and definitely, I'm with you on that. So what it ended up happening, like you said, Scott, was that exact thing. Is that it played out that way? You see, TB made the next trade to move up because of what you just said with the quarterbacks. Look at the way it went down. The back 5 teams did not take a quarterback. So you come back around, and the top 5 teams took one. Then like 6 more went off the board before they got to pick again. So we started to get to that point where people were kind of like, "Oh crap."
Guys are waiting a long time for quarterbacks in a lot of these leagues right now.
They were
in a
taking
lot
a
of these mini
chance.
leagues.
They were taking a chance, and it kind of bit them in the butt, to be honest with you. If you look at the way that there was so much pink on the front side of this draft board before they ever even started hitting it on the back end. So it definitely affected the way that trades were happened as we went forward. So the next trade, this one was literally specifically made because of what happened with CJ, and then right after that, Jordan Love going off the board. He traded his 2026 first to jump up 2 rounds to get Trevor Lawrence, which that first ended up becoming Bryce Young. So that's a pretty, to me, I mean, would you give up Bryce Young in a 2026 first to get Trevor Lawrence?
No.
I would not.
Only because I don't think Trevor's worth a first anymore. More than anything else. Not because I think he's not better than Bryce,
I would just, I
wouldn't give
would,
a
I
first
would
for him.
say Trevor just for a first.
Yeah, and I think what happened is he just kind of got a little bit antsy in his pantsy, worrying about the quarterbacks. And then I don't hate the move as much. I didn't like his actual pick. I wouldn't have taken Lawrence. There's, I think, better opportunities on the board than Lawrence at that point, in my opinion. As you can see, you had Brock Purdy was the next guy that went off the board, and JJ McCarthy. So Baker
I've definitely
Mayfield, I
taken
would have
Brock.
taken any one of them over Lawrence.
Baker,
So,
Baker, like, wow. Yeah, definitely taking Baker over Lawrence for sure. And
yeah,
Purdy.
exactly. So that's the only thing I think that I don't hate the move as much. The value isn't horrible to get the quarterback, right? If you think
if we
about
didn't know who it was, it's different. Yeah, for sure.
But you just gotta pick the right one. And hey, you could be wrong. I mean, Lawrence could turn out to be a stud, but I don't personally think that.
I think Lawrence is going to have a better year this year because with the coaching change.
Yeah, I just don't like him better than the other 3 that went after him. That's all.
No, I don't. I agree with you.
So, and as you move forward, you can see Baker was the next one off the board. So that was actually my pick. All right. And the reason that you see a trade on there is because, little spoiler alert, there's going to be a move that's made. So let's talk about exactly where I was at that point in the draft, guys. So just so you guys understand, I traded up and took Josh Allen at 1-2. I traded up from 110 to 1-7 to take Patrick Mahomes. So I had Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. At the time, I had traded back up to get CJ Stroud at 303. So I had those 3 quarterbacks on my roster only. I had not taken a single position player yet. It comes back to my next pick at 310, which is my original 3rd round pick, the only one that I actually have my first original pick that I'm taking. And I took Baker. I took a 4th quarterback. It threw the entire draft for a loop. There's a lot of bad blood, spilled my way over that pick. A lot of people that thought that I was just being a dick, and they were adamant they are not going to trade with me. I don't care. You're being a meanie, and I don't like it. Yes, but to me, the way the board had fallen, the guys that were trying to play the game, I was like, you guys, you put me in a position where I can now hold you over a barrel, so I will. And that's what happened. And so I came and I took Baker, and then shortly thereafter was a trade that was made to get Baker from me. So what ended up happening was a few rounds later, he came back to me because he wanted Baker after the way the quarterbacks fell. He wasn't confident with his quarterback room and wanted Baker. So then I turned around and was able to trade Baker from the 310 to the 602 and get the 102 rookie pick in return.
So you gave up your 1-3, but still ended up with Josh in the 1-2. Damn. This is why people don't like trading with you, Sean.
It's not my fault. I mean, it's only
Not
because
his
the
fault.
only
It's
reason
not.
this
It's not
happened.
your fault. No, it's not your fault because it's hard to tell what someone's strategy is. You have to pay attention to everything they're doing and all the moves they're making to realize who's on their team and what they're trying to do. Because a lot of people just think, "What can this trade do for me?" and not, "What is this trade doing for this other person?" Am I about to create a monster here? And be that reason, you know.
Well, and it's exactly the way the board fell was the way that it dictated my picks. Like I didn't go in that, oh, I'm going to take 4 quarterbacks before I even touch any other position. That was not like how I started this draft. But the way the board fell, I traded up for Josh, and then like at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I got my guy. I can kind of play the rest of this draft out, and if I get deals, great. If not, no biggie. But then the Patrick Mahomes thing fell down. I'm like, okay, I'll throw my second to get Mahomes. Okay, good. I can sit here. And then CJ falls to 303. I'm like, well, I can move my butt up and get CJ and take like a solid quarterback right here again and have my 3 stud quarterbacks and then have somebody to play with if I need to. And then the board fell again and they let the board fall to Baker to me. And I'm like, dude, Baker is the top guy on my board right now. Like, I'm like, I can't let, and I mean, by a mile, he was the top guy on my board at the time. So I'm like, I'm going to take Baker. And then they're going to look at my team with 4 quarterbacks and 4 top 10 quarterbacks, and they're going to freak out. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And then as you can see, we ended up rolling into this deal where, like you said, Sarah, I basically was able to get 1 pick ahead of what I gave up to get Josh by utilizing picks that were 6 rounds later.
Mm-hmm.
So it just that's how it works if you get the opportunity. I'm not telling you do it every time, but if the board's falling the right way, don't be scared to do it.
No, you can't be scared to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, we rolled through the next picks. We had this was actually Connor making his first trade of the day. And when we go back to look at the draft board, guys, I really want you to look at how lucky this fool got, because I did all the work and he's got so much of the spoils by just sitting there and having great players fall right in his lap because of what I was doing. So, this guy, you want to talk about somebody who just made out like a bandit and did nothing to earn it. It was Connor in this league. I'll tell you right now. This is, I think, the only trade that he made, to be honest with you. And this was him moving up to get David Montgomery. And he was sitting a few picks behind that, but he decided to trade up and actually gave up a round later. So he got to keep his pick in that round. That was 3 picks later, and then take David Montgomery where he got him. So what ended up happening is he got David Montgomery and the 206 rookie pick, and he gave up what turned into Travis Etienne, a 2026 third rounder, and the 204 rookie pick. So I think he kind of made out like a bandit on this trade, to be honest with you. That would be my opinion on this one. I think he could have gotten more. I honestly don't think he should have gotten that rookie pick back. I think he should have just gotten the 807 and given up those 2 rookie picks to go to the 904.
Right.
So I think he made out pretty good in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I could also see it as with him just getting the 80, not just getting the 807, but having the 807 and like a third for like the 904 and the 204 or something like that as well. Just to kind of like 1 round difference in each area.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the fact that he got that second round pick back also was too much. But he dropped back 1 round late in the draft, so maybe he thinks that there's a guy that he really likes. He wouldn't for sure fall to the 206, but he might fall to the 204. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love all the talk in the chat. I read it. You guys do a great job in the chat.
Shot it's ready.
I love reading the stuff in the back and forth in the chat.
So as we moved forward, guys, people were still upset because not only did I do those 4 quarterbacks, I made that trade for Baker, and then my next pick right after that, in the 6th round, I took Tua, who was the last quarterback, basically, that was like the starting quarterback set, for sure a good one on the board that people wanted a tier break, in my opinion.
Fields was still on there,
So, yeah, but this was before, number one, this is before he signed.
Before the sign.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so at the time, he didn't know that he was a starter. And then Gino was I think Gino was still in Seattle at the time too. But to me, they were still a tier down from Tua. Tua was like the last of a tier, in my opinion. So I wanted to make sure I snuck in there and took him. so that I still had that 4 quarterback stable to play with in case I could get another trade in, which is exactly what happened. So let's move forward, shall we?
You guys, I actually have to leave in like 5 minutes. Just want to let you know.
All right, how many more trades we got, Sean?
I believe there's 2 more. This one and 1 more, I believe.
Okay.
So this one is the last of the quarterback trades, though. So if we wanted to, we could end it after this one, since it's kind of finalizes the quarterback talk.
Okay.
But so what ended up happening with this deal is that Brees Hall, or this gentleman, needed a quarterback. Again, same situation. I'll try to make it as quick as I can because he wanted CJ Stroud. So I ended up falling the way the board fell. I ended up not having a lot of running back help, and I really, really needed a running back. I was kind of only with Ken Walker at the point in time. So what I ended up doing was I gave up the CJ Stroud, the 11-10, which ended up turning into Quentin Johnston, and a 2026 third. And in return, I got Brees Hall, Jaden Reed, and a 2026 second. So where do you guys stand on that one?
I like it, Brees Hall.
Mm-hmm. Reed is whatever, but I mean, just looking at numbers here, like
And Jaden Reed, you got, yeah.
Oh, it was Jaden Reed at the time when you traded it. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
I knew it was
Got
Jaden
it.
at the time too.
Yeah.
He didn't make the 11. I was actually on the clock with the 11-10 pick when
Oh,
we
okay.
made the deal.
Gotcha. And he wanted Quentin, huh? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, no, he wanted Stroud. He wanted Stroud. Okay, yeah. I mean, I like getting Brees. I'm whatever about Reed, but yeah, that's hard. That's hard because it's still a quarterback you're giving up and everything. And I get that you didn't need to, but I would have maybe possibly asked for you not to have to give up the third with it.
Yeah,
but
I understand what Sean's doing with all the moving around stuff, but like what Sean did the first 4 rounds, I probably would have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I would have just kept those quarterbacks, and I would have just, drafted the rest of my team, and I would have been like, look, my future is gold. I got my quarterbacks, and just go from there. And I mean, I've employed this strategy. I call it the arms race. I've incorporated that in multiple dynasty leagues, and it really never comes to fruition until like year 2 or 3, when people are dying at quarterback and they're coming after you, and they're basically just giving you whatever you want for your quarterback, for like
when the season starts,
your 4th quarterback. Like,
yeah.
Because they just need a quarterback.
I mean, I get what you're saying there, Scott. I mean, I still have Tua, I still have Josh, I still have Patty. So, I mean, I've got a solid stable, and my team is really competitive now. So,
I think it's more about the worth of Stroud for me when it comes to this trade. You know what I mean? More than anything else. Like, I wish you didn't have to give up that third. I think people are a little higher on Jaden Reed than I am. So, we'll see what happens. But he could be. But I think Brees Hall is, going way too late in these dynasties.
Yeah. Especially now with Justin Fields there, I think it's going to open things up for him.
Mm-hmm.
Brees Hall actually would have been my pick at 310 if I didn't go and take Baker when I took Baker at that point. So that's kind of why I was like, okay, I'll take him. The only thing that I messed up is I ended up taking Wilson over AJ Brown, and I wouldn't have done that obviously knowing I would have gotten Brees later on. I would have not taken 2 Jets. I would have gone with AJ because I was back and forth between the 2 anyway. So, but yeah, other than that though, if we one last quick look at Connor's team and how well it turned out for him after everything. I mean, the man's got Lamar Jackson, Brock Bowers, Jordan Love, Rashee Rice, Kyron Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, James Conner. I mean, he just kept having guys falling in his lap.
That's a nice team for sure.
Yeah. So the last trade that we did on here, I believe, is this. Why is it not? There it goes. Nope, that was the last trade right here.
Oh, good, because I really have to go.
That was it. We are done. See, I knew we were close. I just picked one off.
All right. Okay. Well,
those were fun trades.
We'll get to some more trades next week. I know JoJo had some trades he wanted evaluated. We're going to get to those next week.
I do feel like, though, Scott, that last segment was really Sean just tooting his own horn about how his trades worked out for him in the long run.
Sean
it wasn't meant to be. I just pulled all the trades that happened. It happened to be that most of them were mine.
Sean does do a good job trading. Maybe he'll start writing on the on the website on on how to do the correct trading or what value you can get at different trades. Because I mean, and I'm not just saying this to say this, but I mean, I do call Sean every now and again when I'm up against a trade or something. I'm like, hey, how do can I move up here? What do I got to give up to move up? So I pick Sean's brain. So
It's right.
I admit this.
I do go to Sean. So
Just,
all right, folks.
all I did was just trade all the time and see what everybody else was doing. That's all it was, man.
Trade every day.
Everybody can do it.
So, but anyways, so that wraps up our show for today. Thank you for all checking in chat. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. Give a comment. It really helps out a lot. Please go to theballsvillegame.com for all your fantasy needs. We got, like I said, a lot going on. Sean did say that in the next couple months, our website's going to be turbo boosted. So it's going to look a lot nicer. Not saying it's not already nice, because Alex does a great job doing it, but it's, like I said, it's going to be turbo boosted. So, yeah, please like and subscribe, comments.
Follow the Instagram and the.
I get like the same two people that comment. Thank you, JoJo, on the YouTube. But yeah, we do read those, and yeah, if I get some more people in there, I'll comment back. So yeah, until next week, folks. For our producer Sarah M21 out in Cali, for my co-host, I gotta say this right now, Clemcast BVN on Sleeper. I am Lutz for sale.
He hates Sleeper.
Until next week, folks. Until next week, folks. We are out.
That's a wrap.